Are you living or just trying to be accepted? She did everything she could to be noticed. She explained too much, exaggerated her tone, tried to seem confident, but she couldn't flow until she chose to be silent, breathe, and be. This is the story of many women. Maybe it's yours too. And no, this isn't weakness. It's just a reflection of a world that taught us that love needs to be earned, that respect needs to be demanded, that value needs to be proven. But what if I told you that all of this is a lie, that forcing only tires you out while flowing enchants you? This isn't a catchphrase, it's a turning point. When a woman reconnects with her feminine energy, not that caricature of passive sweetness, but her true essence, intuitive, creative, firm, and silently powerful. She stops losing herself trying to be someone else and finally starts to inhabit who she is. The problem is that we were programmed to chase after it, chasing acceptance, attention, approval. We learn to measure our worth by how useful, beautiful, or pleasant we are. But deep down, you know, none of this fills you, because trying to fit in where there is no space for your truth only hurts. The woman who forces herself tires her out. The one who flows enchants her, because the one who flows is not trying to fit in, she is expanding. She does not hide behind masks or rehearsed phrases. She is not worried about controlling everything, because she trusts her own presence. And that, my friend, is magnetic. This authentic presence comes from within. It cannot be bought, copied, or forced. It must be cultivated. And it all begins the moment you stop fighting to be and start remembering that you already are. It is about reclaiming your power without having to shout. Because feminine energy is not about passivity. It is about silent power. It is about the kind of strength that does not invade, but transforms. And maybe you're listening to this right now and feeling a lump in your throat. Because getting tired of trying hurts. It's scary. It feels like if you stop trying, no one will look at you. But here's the truth that no one told you. When you stop trying, you don't lose your shine. You reveal it. And that's when real connections start to happen. Not based on performance, but on presence. Not based on effort, but on energy. So tell me, have you ever tried to be someone else to be accepted? Have you ever felt like you needed to prove yourself to be valued? Have you ever found yourself saying yes when you wanted to say no, just so you wouldn't lose someone? If so, comment now. I'm tired of forcing it, because that is the first step. Recognizing that there is a lighter, truer, and much more powerful way of existing. Believe me, being you was never the problem. The problem was how much they made you doubt it. This video is to remind you that flowing is not about omitting yourself. It is about allowing yourself. And the woman who allows herself to be without fear, without excuses, without performance, is the woman who enchants. She doesn't need to run after it, because everything that is hers begins to find its way. So take a deep breath, be silent, and come with me, because now it's your turn to remember who you are. Have you ever noticed how some women walk into a room, and before they even open their mouths, everyone notices their presence? It's not about their clothes or their status. It's something deeper, more subtle, more real. It's energy. Your energy enters a room before your voice does. And this isn't mystical talk. It's perception. It's non-verbal communication. It's emotional intelligence in action. The posture you choose to adopt, the way you move, the way you occupy your space, all of this conveys a message. When a woman is aligned with her own essence, she doesn't need to raise her voice to be heard. She doesn't need to prove herself. Her presence speaks for her. And this is something that can be felt, because when you are completely yourself, you exude a calm confidence that doesn't shout, but that doesn't go unnoticed either. A confidence that isn't loud, but that is unmistakable. It's the kind of strength that arrives silently and yet transforms the environment. This subtle magnetism has much less to do with what you say and much more to do with how you are. It is the look in your eyes that sustains the truth. It is the tone of your voice that does not need to speed up to be firm. It is the pause before responding. This pause is powerful because those who are at peace are in no rush to react, and this conveys a level of self-confidence that attracts and at the same time commands respect. What is enchanting is not the exaggerated performance, it is the conscious presence, the way you hold your gaze without arrogance but with confidence, the way you listen more than you interrupt, observe more than you judge. All of this creates a magnetic field around you, a field that says, I know who I am, and I do not need to adapt to fit in. Women who access this place of presence begin to experience healthier relationships, to stand out without exhausting themselves, to build authority without needing to dominate. Because when your energy is clean, aligned, secure, it speaks for you before your voice even comes out. And people feel it. And when they feel it, they trust it. And when they trust it, they connect. Maybe you've noticed this in other women. Maybe you've wanted to have this kind of presence too. The good news is it can be cultivated. You don't have to be born with a striking presence. You have to learn to be yourself, to be whole, not scattered around trying to please, to be centered, not confused, trying to fit in. Your energy begins to change when you start to look at yourself with more respect, when you stop comparing yourself and start to know yourself. When you treat yourself with kindness, the world starts to respond differently too. Not because you've changed others, but because you've changed the way you vibrate. And that changes everything. The woman who knows herself, who is silent without fading away, who speaks with intention and not neediness, that woman creates an impact that lasts. And if this is the kind of presence you want to cultivate, comment now, my energy speaks for me. Because this is the turning point. This is where you step out of automatic mode, out of over-effort, and into the flow of your true strength. Not to impress, but to inspire. Not to be seen, but to be felt. And believe me, when you access this state, no one can ignore you, because your energy has already arrived before your voice. Female self-confidence doesn't start in the mind, it starts in the body. And that changes everything, because for a long time we've been taught to think different to feel better, repeating positive affirmations, trying to silence the critical voice inside your head, pretending to be brave in front of the mirror. But what if I told you that your body holds the key to all of this, that even before your mind understands that you are confident, capable, valuable, your body can already start living this truth? The body stores stories, traumas, rejections, comparisons, microaggressions from everyday life that accumulate in the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the hunched posture. Insecurity has a physical language. It is the look that escapes, the shortness of breath, the small gestures. And the more you live like this, the more your mind believes that you are small, weak, invisible. But the opposite is also true. When you start to change the way you inhabit your body, you start to reprogram your brain. This is neuroscience applied to presence. This is empowerment in practice. A woman who breathes slowly and deeply is not only oxygenating her body, she is sending a signal of safety to her nervous system. Loose shoulders say, I am not defending myself, I am at peace. And a firm gaze, which does not challenge but supports, communicates, I trust myself. All this without saying a word. Do you see the power of this? You don't need to shout to be heard. Your body can speak for you with a clarity that no rehearsed phrase can achieve. Start right now. Take a deep breath. Loosen your shoulders. Sit your feet on the ground. Feel your presence occupying this space. When you do this, something changes inside and outside too. Because the body is your first territory, and every woman needs to learn to inhabit it with dignity, with affection, with firmness, not as armor but as a temple. The body is the place where confidence is built, and it doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within, from the way you position yourself, move, anchor yourself. If you've come this far, It's because something inside you knows that you're ready for this reunion. Your mind may doubt it, but your body knows. Your body has always known. It just needs to be heard, respected, and restored. Every time you breathe consciously, relax your jaw, adjust your posture. You're saying to yourself, I am here. I deserve this space. I don't need to shrink to be accepted. And this is liberating, because it is in the body that confidence begins, and it is from there that it spreads to everything. Your words gain more weight, your energy gains more presence, your relationships transform, not because you changed your appearance, but because you reconnected with your essence. So, if you are going to start practicing this, if you have decided from now on to inhabit your body with more awareness and truth, comment now, I inhabit my body. This is the first step in a real, lasting feminine journey. And believe me, the world feels it when a woman reconnects with her own presence. Because she doesn't arrive asking for permission. She arrives occupying the space that has always been hers. There is something deeply magnetic about a woman who allows herself to be truly seen. I'm not talking about exposure, but about presence. Being whole with everything she carries, her strengths and her weaknesses. When you understand that your vulnerability is your signature, you stop trying to appear perfect and start showing yourself as real. And being real is infinitely more powerful, because perfection distances, but authenticity brings us closer. We connect with that which is human, imperfect, sincere. When you make room to say, this moves me, or I don't know, but I want to learn, you don't lose authority. You gain respect, because courage is not pretending that nothing touches you. Courage is allowing yourself to feel and still remain firm. It's holding your gaze with tears in your eyes. It's speaking truthfully even when your voice breaks. That's strength. That's emotional maturity. That's conscious femininity. And the most beautiful thing is that when you allow yourself to be real, you give other women permission to do the same. You become a mirror, not of unattainable perfection, but of possible presence. Many of us grew up learning that vulnerability was a risk, that showing feelings was synonymous with weakness, that asking for help, saying you didn't know, showing a fall, was a reason to be ashamed. So we built armor. We learned to hide the pain, to hold back the tears, to always look good. But this armor, over time, becomes a prison, because you may even seem strong, but you're suffocating inside. And there comes a time when the cost of maintaining this mask becomes too high. You start to feel disconnected, tired, invisible even to yourself. And that's when many women get stuck. But it's also when a turning point can be born. When you choose to let your guard down. When you decide to stop trying to impress and start expressing yourself. When you understand that showing your heart doesn't weaken you, it frees you. Because your humanity is your strength. Your story, just the way it is, with its flaws, doubts, scars and victories, is exactly what makes you unique. And that's why your vulnerability is not a flaw, it's your signature on the world. You don't need a perfect version of yourself to be admired, you need a true version. And truth is not manufactured, it is revealed. When you talk about something that touches you, you open a door of empathy. When you admit that you are learning, you connect with humility. When you say, it wasn't easy, but I kept going, you inspire others to do the same. This is emotional leadership. This is feminine power in its purest form. So if you are freeing yourself from this armor, if you are choosing to show your light and also your shadows, comment now, I am real and strong. Because this is the woman the world needs, not the one who hides behind emotional filters, but the one who shines with the courage to be whole, the woman who understands that her vulnerability is not what weakens her, it is what makes her unforgettable. And from the moment you allow yourself to be this woman, you will never go back. Because being real is unstoppable. It has depth, it has truth, it has connection, and no mask can replace that. There is something profoundly transformative about a woman you choose. She doesn't need to make a fuss or justify her journey, because the decision to put yourself first changes the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you look in the mirror. This woman shines differently. And it's not the shine that screams, it's what sustains. The woman who chooses herself understands that self-care goes far beyond a skincare routine or a day at the spa. Self-care is emotional discipline. It's saying no without guilt. It's leaving places that don't welcome you. It is protecting your peace like someone protecting a temple. It's if you look honestly and ask, what do I need today? And most importantly, allow yourself to answer truthfully. The woman who chooses herself understands that living in coherence is expensive, but living in denial costs the soul. And so she happily pays the price of authenticity. Because you know that standing firm in your choices is the only way to live a life worth living. And here comes a point that I, Carol Dweck, always emphasize. You are not born ready. You build yourself every day. This version of yourself that you are becoming now did not exist yesterday. It is being born from the sum of your decisions, from the courage to start over, from the small sacrifices that no one sees but that you feel. Growth is not a leap. It is one step each day. And each time you choose yourself, even when the world calls you selfish, you send a clear message to the universe. I take myself seriously. And when you take yourself seriously, everything changes. Your friendships change, your work changes, your relationships change, because the energy of someone who honors themselves is non-negotiable. This woman no longer hides to fit in. She no longer lives to please. She lives to be true to herself. And this internal fidelity is what makes her shine so authentic. It is not a reflection of the gaze of others. It is her own light. Because she stopped extinguishing herself to keep others comfortable, and she began to shine to live fully. Choosing yourself is a daily act of courage. And no, it's not easy. You will doubt. You will be afraid of displeasing others. You will hear criticism. But every time you stand up for yourself, even if you're shaking, you become stronger, because there is no self-esteem without coherent action. It's in the act of prioritizing yourself, in the silence that protects your peace, in the choice to leave a place that doesn't see you, that you build real self-love. A woman who chooses herself learns to listen to herself before listening to the world. She learns to respect her time, her body, her limits. And that's not selfishness. It's maturity. It's wisdom. It's a silent revolution. If you feel like you're in this process, if you're learning to honor yourself, to say yes to yourself before saying yes to everyone else, comment now, I choose myself, because saying this is more than a comment. It's a commitment to your truth. And when a woman commits to her truth, she changes her story. She stops surviving and starts living, not in the way that was expected of her, but in the way that makes sense to her soul. And that's the glow that no one can erase. For a long time, we were led to believe that in order to lead, women needed to toughen up. They needed to raise their voices, bang their fists on the table, silence their emotions, and adopt a posture that was not their own, all in order to be taken seriously. We were taught that in order to occupy positions of power, we needed to copy male models of authority. But that idea no longer applies. Today, what is being asked of us, what the world it needs, is a feminine that leads without dominating, that guides firmly and welcomes with presence, that leads with wisdom without needing to run over. And this is not utopia, it is practice. When a woman understands that she can influence with truth without abandoning her essence, she becomes unforgettable. She makes her mark not by imposing, but by the way she creates space, how she listens, how she speaks, how she connects. And this is the new feminine power, not that which tries to compete in the logic of brute force, but that which creates new forms of presence, sensitive, assertive, intelligent, Female leadership is not a lipstick copy. It is a silent revolution that begins in the way you are. A woman who leads with empathy is not weak. She is strategic. She knows how to read people. She knows how to listen. She knows how to conduct difficult conversations with respect and clarity. She does not lose her sweetness when she takes a stand. She does not lose her firmness when she welcomes. She can say, "This is not working," with the same tone as she would say, "I believe in you." And that is what makes her respected, because authority does not come from volume, it comes from integrity, from consistency, from truth. And when your speech comes from a heart aligned with your vision, when your presence is connected with your intention, you do not need to shout. You do not need to prove anything. You simply, and people feel it. They follow you, not out of fear, but out of trust. And that is the most powerful way to lead, inspiring, not intimidating, building bridges, not walls, taking the team forward, but without leaving anyone behind. So if you feel like you have something to say, to lead, to create, know this: you don't need to change who you are to do so. You just need to access what's already inside you. Because when a woman leads with her heart aligned with her voice, no one forgets her. She transforms environments. She challenges with respect. She leads with intuition. And she proves day after day that female leadership is more than necessary. It's urgent. So if you want to truly influence, comment. Now, female leadership. This is more than a comment. It's a position statement, because the world needs your voice, but it needs yours full voice. And your way of leading, when it comes from your center, is exactly what will pave the way for others to rise up as well. For us, leading is not about giving orders. It is about inspiring. It is about touching. It is about leaving a mark that goes beyond results. It is about transforming by example. And this is the kind of leadership that builds the future, human, conscious, and profoundly feminine. Being unforgettable isn't about impressing everyone. It's about truly touching someone. And that doesn't come from trying to appear perfect, or always having the right answer, or being in control all the time. It comes from your essence, from that energy you carry when you enter a room with presence, calmness, and truth. A woman who makes a mark wherever she goes doesn't need to raise her voice or seek validation. She doesn't live to please, nor does she dress up as a character. She knows who she is, even when she's still under construction. And it's precisely this awareness, this commitment to her own truth, that makes her unforgettable. Because while the world chases applause, she moves with intention. She knows she's not here to impress. She's here to make an impact. And real impact isn't something you shout about. It's something you feel. It's something you live. It's something you transmit with your soul. When you start allowing yourself to be yourself truly, without masks, without exaggerations, without excuses, something changes. Your energy changes. Your choices change. Your way of walking through the world changes, and little by little, you start to realize that you don't need to be the tallest, the fastest, the most outgoing, or the most experienced to be remembered. You need to be whole, be true to what you feel, be clear about what you want, and be honest with what you deliver, because that's what stays. The steady gaze, the conscious speech, the kind attitude with clear boundaries, the authenticity that doesn't give up on yourself just to fit into someone else's mold. Being unforgettable is living with purpose. It's speaking with presence. It's acting coherently. It's knowing that it's not about being noticed by everyone, but rather about being remembered by those who were touched by your truth. As Carol Dweck always emphasizes, the woman who grows is the one who builds herself. And the woman who builds herself with intention becomes a reference, not on the outside, but on the inside. The unforgettable woman doesn't arrive screaming. She arrives being, because when you are truly you, no one forgets. It is your energy that announces your arrival before you speak. It is your gaze that conveys security before any explanation. It is your calm that soothes. It is your firmness that inspires. So, if you are building this woman who leaves her mark wherever she goes, comment now. I am this energy. Declare it. Commit to this presence. And more. Send this video to a friend who needs to remember the power that exists within her. Because when a woman remembers what she is capable of, she changes her life. And when she inspires another to do the same, she changes the world. We are not here to compete. We are here to remind each other of our strength, of our brilliance, of our essence. And it is this energy, authentic, firm, kind and true, that transforms everything around us. Because a woman who knows herself chooses herself, and a woman who chooses herself leaves her mark, not by noise, but by truth.